Hello, RC fans. Welcome to my channel and welcome to part 3 um, of my TA Tamiya chassis series build. That's a tongue twister. It's racing 393, and like I said, we're on part 3. Now, I I'm not gonna I'm not gonna own up to knowing everything about all this RC stuff. A lot of the things I do, I've forgotten most of it. Back when I had, for example, this TA02 chassis. We're talking like, I don't know, it's over 20 years ago. So I got this in around 1993-ish. I think it came out in 93 or towards the end of 93. Maybe it was the beginning of 94. But what what I'm saying is I don't hang around these chassis. It's although I've got it, I sort of didn't really know the internet weren't out then and blah blah blah. And I have, as far as restoring one, it's suddenly I've decided to, I thought, I know, I would like to own the Repsol Escort, and it's a TA02 chassis. Now, on the other two videos, there was things I was mentioning. I just want to clarify this, just ideas. Um, but when you start reading about it, like more recently, and then I'm rebuilding and refurbishing the chassis, things start to make more sense. It's a bit of and I think I mentioned this, a bit of a minefield on the TA series chassis, especially around the O2 spec, O1 and O2. There is so much and so much more than you actually realise, and there's people that haven't really gone away from the TA01 O2. They know a lot more shortcuts and how should we say, or using other parts that might work. Now, I think one of the things, and I must admit, I don't know, I would never have thought of this. Like I said, I've never owned a TA01. Trying to remember what I had is difficult anyway. It was a TA02. Now, the TA01, it wasn't until recently that I realised that the TA01 chassis, it's not so much that it's a slightly longer. There's a slight difference, but it's got different wishbones, rear wishbones. I think it's even got different front wishbones to the TA02. And the TA02, if you use like normal size wishbones on the sort of the rear end, that's fine. You put that subframe, if you like, onto a TA01 chassis with TA02 wishbones, the wheelbase is all wrong. I didn't even know that. It wasn't even a thing. I just didn't even contemplate that. I was reading something and somebody did a really good article. I think it was Tamiya Club, I think. And they were going into the TA01 and the TA02 and had pictures of the difference. I would have never have even thought that. Even reading it, it doesn't quite compute. So with the TA01 chassis that I've still got, that I want to use, and the reason there's no other reason I want to use that other than I've got one now. But with the TA02 rear bottom wishbones, the track's it's like a truck. It's something ridiculous, like 280 something mil or something really weird. And a TA01 and a TA02, the wheelbase is something like, is it 255 or 260 or something millimeters? So they're both the same. Yeah, I was having the problems trying to put this longer prop on, which had the torque converter. Now, the TA01 chassis came with its coat hanger style prop, and it's the same length. But because there was no other parts that came with the chassis, I didn't know about the wheelbase difference if you used the wrong parts on there. But I didn't even know that using the wrong parts was a thing. But I do now. It's taken me 3 episodes to realise that, and there's still more to be found out. With I've read that was the GTR, the Nissan back in the day has different gear set. It must be sort of high-speed gear set. Don't know. You sort of read about it, but without actually delving in and getting the parts, looking up the part number, then going into forums, which are not always that easy to navigate. Yes, you should do the research, but just sometimes it's just finding these things out on the fly. You know, I didn't know that the TA series was such an involvement, from length, width, a few details within. I know there's upgrades, which is why we're doing these videos, but it takes a bit more understanding before you can actually say, yeah, I know what I'm doing. So I hold my hand up to things that I might have said, and I don't quite know at the time, but I'm getting there now. So this is going to be part 3. In this part, we're going to be adding what hop-ups that I can to my, at the moment of recording, TA02. I'm still waiting for what I think is TA01 rear wishbones. My other concern is, are they narrower than the TA02? Which means, are there, and I read this somewhere, the rear drive shafts, original drive shafts, could be different lengths. There's going to be a problem. Not only that, I think the drive shafts that I currently got, that's in the kit, that's in the car that I've bought, at least the one I'm stripped down, does have plastic end parts. They're kind of in the dog bone bit, and I did read that they are a particular type, like from a particular variant. Added on to that, of course, I've now bought like Yeah Racing steel CVDs, which technically I think should be used on the front because they're for the steering, so the dog bone doesn't come out. I suppose there's not much, well, is there or isn't there? You can use them at the back as well. With other videos you may have seen, I've got the carbon chassis. I haven't taken that apart yet, but maybe that can have a set of steel CVDs on the back or the front. I don't know. I'm trying to sort of work my way through what I've got, but it's going to take a little bit of modification en route. So this is a really long-winded intro. So let's get down to what is a very hot UK shed. Part 3. I think first off, we'll have a look at what I've got. The extras that I was waiting for. I think I will show you this though. I managed to get these all done. That wasn't easy. It did go in there flush, but I think where I dyed them, I think that bit in the middle kind of expanded a little bit, so I had to Dremel it out, and I had to put some different hardware on the back because I didn't have enough of the original. But they're okay, so they're all done. Parts, you've got some just in front of you here. So I've got these on my eBay store anyway, but they're hard to get hold of. So they're just the low friction shocks. Got clearly need 2. So I've got those. Front hubs, body posts, motor mount, original Tamiya rear wishbones, and yet another one of those blue bling M3 size hardware, which I might try and replace some of them on this one. It kind of leads me on to was it that? Yeah, when I bought the chassis, you can see here the coat hanger style prop that came with it, but that's really long. That doesn't fit this chassis. So when you put this onto the TA01, which is what that's from, it's then too long, so I've got to change the rear wishbones. Which then means if I get the correct wishbones, we can put this little torque converter on, because why not? Because I bought it thinking it was probably something else, I guess, and that's the same length. So end to end, you can see it's the same. My hand gets out of the way. It's the same length as a TA, well, not the same length, TA02, and you can see the difference. Put them together, kind of. Look, and it's quite a big difference in length. There's going to be a separate video for this next bit. Carbon fibre TA02 complete, which I'm going to strip down and rebuild. But I've got to show you something before I move on to the normal car. These tyres are absolutely, they've never been so hard. If you're wondering, well, not that you are, but I'm going to show you. Here's a proper wheel and tyre, rubber. I'd hate to think how long these have been, whatever. I crushed it with my hand. Look, I'll try and do a little bit on camera, but do you hear that? It's plastic. Oh, I mean, look. I mean, the foam's okay, but that's just breaking off. I mean, how old is that? Oh, there you go. That's gone absolutely everywhere. But you get the idea. It's got, but looks like an original. Is it sport tuned? I think. Like back in the day, original. It's got a racing pack NiCad, which probably won't work. You can see that in there, and it's got one of them electronic speed controllers that I used to have. If you're interested, here's the actual body shell. So it's not bad. It's a good run at body shell. It is an original Tamiya one. So finally got what I've been trying to get for like years. To start with, we'll do that. Shock tower, front hubs, C hubs, and that bit into aluminium, and that's it like before. Get in there. Don't even ask about them. Better start that bit now. Right, we're pretty much up to where I can go, really. Front and rear looks pretty nice. I'll show the back. Looks quite good. Some bit of blue bling as well. You see the front, but I'll show you it again. Looks quite nice. Waiting for some more bits. I think the next main bit I'm going to put on is so we've got the steering rack. Now I think I'm going to put that in the other chassis. I still want to use the TT01 so that I can put this on. Torque splitter. Don't know, maybe you're probably thinking why bother, but I bought it and I want to use it. Simple as that, really. And it won't go on this chassis. It's like you've seen, it's too long, but it will go on the TA01. But I'm waiting for some bits. Might as well do them. put these on, replace those. It's not worth filming these, to be honest, although I like building them. I suppose it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I enjoy it. So we've got that, replace those. These work really well anyway. I mean, they're the originals, so there's nothing wrong with them, but we're going to put those on. Maybe some gears inside, and the bearings while we've got the gear case open. I think these use like the ball socket attachment at the top, so we'll gain a couple more of these blue hardware that we can use elsewhere maybe. The only real thing I do different, this isn't different, I use the pistons with the single hole hard, and you're probably thinking why. And then I tend, this is a 1.6mm little drill, I drill them out 1.6mm. I find that works well. Now you might think, well, just use 2 holes. Maybe, but when I do it like this, I get quite good results where it's not too soft or too stiff, but I can get the body shell tucked right down on the wheels. So I like to get my cars low. That's the plan anyway. So 1.6mm. I haven't done them yet, but we're just going to drill these out. It's like a hand drill, just sort of one of these. It seems to work alright once I do it up the right way. So you just sort of nip it, make sure it's in the centre, and then I'll show you one anyway while I'm here. It's really fiddly. So there's one that I haven't done, and then 1.6mm. It's just going through now. You probably can't see that, it's really, I can't see it and I'm here. So effectively, it's got to clear out this. There is a little bit of a burr in there. Burr. Like that. I was going to do it. I should do it on camera, shouldn't I? It's because I can't see anything. Like that. Just make sure it's okay that way. There's not a lot of meat left on the piston, but you might even be able to tell the difference. But if I show you, that's one I've done, and then there's one I haven't done. It looks the same. No, it's not. It is different. My little bad eyes can see it, and so should you. Anyway, that's what I do. Done. Perfect. That's the difference. It's got a lot more movement there. That one, although it works, and probably would be good. But yeah, voila. Good. Another bit we've done. That's the TA01 chassis. I've just put some carbon fibre covering. There's a few sort of stretch marks on there, but it doesn't matter. It's only to give it some sort of uniform colour and to tidy it up a little bit. It was a bit scratched, but that front's done. Shocks and wheels, so we're going to put that on. We're done up to the point where we've got everything on. Put the bottom wishbones on the other way round and adjusted everything. we've got the long prop in, front's all long, rear CVDs aren't long enough now, so I mean they are the TA02 rear wishbones. That there is a TA01. The rear tyres I've got to change because they're not correct. I think, don't know, I might need adjustable rear links because maybe could do with the rear hubs slightly negative. That would help with the CVDs. I don't know why they're so short. I mean, I have got all longer ones on order. I don't suppose you can see them there anyway, but when the suspension goes up, in fact that one there has almost come out. Yeah, I'll show you the back. You might be able to see, because yeah, it's pretty much out. Can you see that? I don't know what to do about that. Yeah, but this will be the end. I've got other bits to come for this, but this is the end of this part. It's more of a learning curve than anything. Oh, it has gone to 1%. So I'm charging the power pack, and it is charging, but it's going to take like 8 hours. Just for your benefit, if I rest this on there, it's not going to be perfect. I don't think the chassis, I don't think this body is wide enough, but as far as wheelbase, it's adequate. Yeah, but we're getting there. It's come out right actually. I've got all blue hardware on the top, but I've run out. I've got 2 at the bottom I could have done with. I've got 1 left. Uno left, so I might have to just get some blue hardware just to finish that off at the bottom. But yeah, part 4 coming soon. Finally, it's a bit hard work this. I'm sure there's easier things to do. Maybe do the research then the video. If you enjoyed that, let me know, and I will see you on part 4. Get the body shell fitted and sort out them drive shafts, and we'll go from there. To be honest, we've got another body shell, we've got other wheels and tyres. The rear tyres will need changing. I mean, I don't know, what do you think? Does it look better like that? Or like that? They're the original ones. Yeah, I'll catch up with you, like I said, in part 4. Thanks for watching, see you later.